Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Happiness Journey with Dr. Dan podcast, where every journey is worth living. My name is Dr. Dan, and I'm your host for today's episode. I'm a bilingual neurolinguistic programming and cognitive behavior psychotherapist specializing in anger management issues, both court-appointed and private, marriage counseling using the EFT method, dissociative disorders, narcissistic personality disorders, depression, anxiety, dream analysis, and so provide life, business, and retirement coaching support. I provide individual one-on-one session in both French or English, and also do group settings. If you need any assistance, reach out to DMB Therapy and Coaching Services at 301-325-1550, and our website can be found on lifecoachdanamzalai.com. Today, I'm very excited to have for our fifth episode of season 18 a very special guest, comedian and cartoonist, Trenton Hudson. And just like every of my past episode, I will leave it up to the guests to properly introduce themselves, as no one can do a better job. Trenton, the floor is yours, my friend.
Thank you so much for having me, Dr. Dan. Pleasure to be here. My name is Trenton Hudson. I'm a cartoonist. I'm a comedian. I'm an entrepreneur, a few things in between, but mostly I'm just a guy trying to have fun, be happy, and love life and make my dreams come true.
Beautiful. Well, thank you so much for being here today. So before this podcast, before the recording, I know you and we spoke a little bit about a few of the healthcare that you had, two consecutive heart attack at a very, very young age. So if you could just tell our listeners about the health challenges that you faced when you were young, and what caused it, and what made you, or how did you change your life to be able to get to where you are here today?
For sure. So I had a heart attack when I was 20 years old, and that was caused by an aneurysm in my LAD. So for those of you who maybe not too familiar with heart anatomy, your LAD supplies blood to the bottom left side of your heart. So that quadrant of your heart gets blood through the LAD. And after I had my first heart attack, they put a stent in another aneurysm. So I had two aneurysms, one of them closed up, caused a heart attack. Um, and then 15 months later, the other one closed up around the stent that they put in. This was expected, but they wanted to give me a little time to recover from the first one and hopefully prolong the second one, right? Um, and this was something that we don't know if it was something from birth or something that developed later in life. But after the two heart attacks, or actually before the two heart attacks, my heart was already developing arteries around the LAD. So developing new feeder arteries around that. So the bottom left half of my heart, no blood flow through the LAD whatsoever. And I still have completely normal heart function, normal blood flow. It's just not flowing through that. But, you know, the human body is amazing. I didn't even know that that was possible to happen until it happened to me. So someone's looking out for me. And another thing that I feel so blessed and so lucky, like, to go through what I went through and have the experience of, I don't think I'm lucky that I had a heart attack, but I think I'm lucky that I had the type of heart attack that I did, because
Mhm.
whenever you have a heart attack, whatever damage is done to your heart, that's permanent. Your heart doesn't heal from the bruising, whatever, you've got to live with that. And in my case, after having two heart attacks, my heart sustained almost no damage, almost no bruising. Um, a couple years ago, we did like every test in the book. We did the 3D imaging, we did blood tests, the stress test, the treadmill test. We did the oh, what's the one where like they do when you're looking at a baby? Uh, what's it called? Help me out here.
When you look at a baby, like
Yeah, whenever they look at the,
for the women, when the
yeah, on the little screen where you can see
yeah,
actually.
the 3D, yeah, oh god,
Yeah,
man.
why am I drawing a blank? I can't think of what it's called. But either way, so the typical where you can see inside. We did that too, and the tech is like sitting here looking on. He's looking on at my heart forever. It took him like 40 minutes, 45 minutes to even find any damage at all. And he's just like, whoa, like, you're like the luckiest dude in the world. He's like, you see this little spot? That's all the damage that your heart sustained from two heart attacks. So very blessed to make it out very almost unscathed after those two incidences. But it wasn't something that, like, I wasn't really living unhealthy by any means. I've always been a very active. I've always played sports growing up. I've always been in great shape, take care of myself, eat well. Um, but it definitely changed what I consider healthy, because this was, I'm 20 years old, so I'm 33 now. So this is, 2010. And this was at a point in my life when I still thought, like, granola bars and cereal was good for you and like a good way to, start your day. Obviously, it's not. And I was still, eating a lot of food that, was cooked in, you know, vegetable oil and these type of things that I would never ever eat now. You'll never see vegetable oil in my home no matter what, under any circumstances. You'll never see granola bars in my home. Um so now it's, more so I being a comedian, me and my brothers make fun of each other for everything. Even when I was in the hospital, not knowing what's going to happen because I have a heart attack. We don't know what the long term looks like. Me and my brothers still had jokes about that. Um and then the jokes start coming of I'm going to be the first one to die.
Okay.
And so that for me was like, okay, I'm gonna show you guys, I'm gonna outlive all you guys. So then it was like it kind of like lit a fire up under me. So now I'm like try to be really healthy, do all the things, that I think will help keep me in good health and living longer and feeling good. So I'm very aware of, my body, what it responds well to, what it doesn't respond well to. I've sometimes I can feel like anything is slightly off my body and I can tell. Like I don't drink very often, but if I have like a few sips of alcohol, like a few sips, I'm not talking a few drinks, a few sips, I can feel the difference immediately. Um so I just really enjoy feeling good. And so that's kind of why I do the things that I do, not just longevity, but I love just waking up every day full of energy, feeling great. And once I like really started getting really into health and very aware of what I eat, my sleeping habits, that's a big one too. Sleep is huge for me. Now I like always make sure I get to bed early. I used to stay up super late every night. Now it's like, nah, I got to get to bed. It's like, oh, I like rush to bed. Like I can't wait to go to bed after
Yeah.
a long day and like
Absolutely.
rejuvenate and make sure I get all the. I don't ever wake up to an alarm either. I make sure I get to bed early enough.
Did you eliminate all the meat or anything that has to have with cholesterol or anything of that sort? Did you become vegetarian or vegan because of what happened? Or do you feel that you took life for granted in the past, and when this happened, the heart attacks, then you start realizing that life is so fragile and you start changing your whole perspective?
Absolutely changing my whole perspective. I've experimented with diet here and there on different things. Me personally, I don't think the vegan option is right for me.
Okay.
I um I like to do a vegan cleanse every now and again, but I don't believe that it's the way to go for long term uh sustainable like for over the course of a lifetime. I'd like to do it for, maybe a month at a time.
Mhm.
And I like to fast a lot. I love fasting. I do extended fasting. I'm not really much on the intermittent, but I like to fast anywhere from 1 to 3 days. I have done a 5 day before, and
Okay.
I just do water and salt. But the perspective, that's the interesting thing. Um, when you're 20 years old and you have a heart attack and you don't know what the long term
Ramifications.
outlook is going to be, you have no idea whether if this is going to happen again in a few months or 50 years from now, or nothing's ever going to happen again, or am I even gonna like make it out of this hospital? Like those are kind of the questions that you're dealing with on day one, day two, and day three in the hospital. Um, so when you're forced to face that at such a young age, you really appreciate time so much because we all have to live with the reality of 15 seconds from now, you could faint and wake up in a hospital and a doctor tell you you have leukemia or something wrong with you that could make you faint and wake up in a hospital, right? We all live with that reality, but we don't live as if that's our reality. We live as if, most of the time we have tomorrow. We live like tomorrow's promised and it's not.
Not sure.
Um, so for me, having to go through that and understand that, like really understand it and feel it that this can all be over any minute. And it's like, dang, I got so many things I want to do before that happens. So let's hurry up and get moving just in case. I'm planning on living, I tell myself every day I'm gonna live long, I'm gonna be an athlete forever, I'm gonna live forever. I'm shooting for 120.
Okay.
But but something could happen a week from now, and then like this is where it ends. So it's like I have to live. I can't live like I have 90 years left of life. I have to live like I got 90 days left.
But do you think that this, because of what happened, a lot of people, as you said, they live too much either in the future or too much into the past, and they never really live life mindfully. So do you feel that even though you, because of your new healthy habits, you have the potential to outlive a lot of people, but do you think that also because of you not looking too much into the future and you look more into living into the present, allows you to be able to enjoy and appreciate life much better?
I think so for my case, yeah. I focus really hard on trying to be present, and sometimes it's very difficult. Everything in life pulls our attention away, whether it's something that we're stressed out about that already happened, or maybe we're stressed about something that might happen, or maybe we're anxious, looking forward to something that's gonna happen. And all that does is pull us away from this exact moment that we're in, right? So for me, I look at a lot of different things with health and longevity and these type of things, and I feel like that is something that is kind of overlooked as far as being present, because again, a lot of the times if we're thinking about the past, we're upset about something that happened, or and sometimes we're like reminiscing on great things about the past. But if we're getting pulled out, a lot of times that's a stressful type of response or an anxious response looking into the future. So I try to keep those kind of hormones in a balance, and try to not let my cortisol and everything, my adrenals get too high. So and another thing is big health thing that people really overlook a lot is your relationships. Um the people who live the longest seem to have the closest relationships with their community, their family, their close friends. They um have to, yeah, they kind of got it figured out. That has a huge impact on how long we live, how well our cells regenerate to keep us alive, right? Um, so yeah, that's important for me too. My family is everything, and I try to keep those relationships really tight. I'm one of five all boys in the family. There's only
Oh
7 years
wow,
from oldest to youngest.
a lot of
Um,
testosterone
so
there.
yeah, our house was a circus growing up, man. But we're best friends, man. We're all like this. So
That is beautiful.
that's helpful too. So I feel like I'm really blessed. I got to be born into a family that's so tight, and got to be born into a big family. So that's something that we don't get to control though. But the things that we can control, you know, the quality of the relationships, the things we eat, our sleeping habits, all these things. So yeah, the health journey has honestly been like really fun for me, and I love because I've always been a very curious person about everything. I'm one of those people. I just love to read and learn things and know everything. So to learn about how the human body works
Yes.
has been my biggest, like, just that's kind of everything for me, because we always talk about like nutrition and things like this when it comes to health and longevity, right?
Mhm.
um and I tell people all the time, like, we all have these skewed ideas of what's healthy when it comes to eating, because you can study nutrition. So you can study a food and be like, okay, this food has this and this, these are all good for you. But that doesn't mean that your body is actually going to absorb those nutrients that are in that food. And a lot of other different various factors like that too. It's all about kind of how that reacts in our body. Um, so I've learned a lot about how the body works and these type of things. And it's funny that you bring up like the foods that are with cholesterol and this and that. And honestly, like, I eat a ton of red meat and eggs. I eat the most cholesterol rich food that there is. I eat 3 to 6 eggs every day. I eat red meat every day. And my sorry, go ahead.
Then again, sorry to interrupt you, Trenton. When it comes to cholesterol, it's also hereditary. I mean, people can
Correct.
be very
Correct.
healthy and eat no fat whatsoever, and then still have a high cholesterol over 200 and high triglyceride. So I
Right.
think the cholesterol is more hereditary than actually from the
Mhm.
food, because it depends on how the body processes that.
Definitely, definitely.
So
And here's another thing I've found is that I've read a lot lately about how insulin affects everything in our body.
yes,
How our body uses insulin to metabolize and carry cholesterol to the parts of our body where it's needed, right?
yes,
So, if you take the standard American diet everything is a sugar high roller coaster. We wake up and we eat pastries at Starbucks and
Yes.
have a coffee with sugar in it. And then we have maybe some real food at some point, but then a granola bar in the afternoon, also packed with sugar and loaded with high fructose corn syrup and all the things. And it's like, so all day long, as an American, our insulin levels are spiked because it's trying to balance our blood sugar.
Correct. Exactly.
So, and then so I'm like learning all this and trying to understand all this. I'm like, okay, what should insulin be used for when it's not stabilizing our blood sugar? Turns out a lot of things. So when your body is using insulin to balance your blood sugar instead of do things like synthesize cholesterol and go and a ton of other things like. And another thing that is interesting is I didn't even realize this until probably a couple months ago, is that insulin is a hormone. So all your hormones work together. So if one of them is off, the others are going to be off. That's just how the endocrine system works.
Mhm.
So there's all these factors that are affecting how our bodies work properly or improperly. And so it's like, if you can just avoid sugar, most of your problems will
You thought
start to diminish. And
correct.
that's why, like, I talk to so many people and like, oh, I started eating vegan, or oh, I went on carnivore diet. And it's like, okay, well, everyone, or it's like, oh, I'm doing keto or whatever it is. It's like all these people are like, I felt so much better. It's like, okay, well, it seems like the common denominator is you all quit eating food that is man-made and you just started eating real food and everyone feels better.
Mhm.
So
But
I try, go
then it
ahead.
go to the basics. I mean, you mentioned something quite interesting about the fasting for 3 or 4 days. Now, in the past, you would agree that it is not just us, but you went a bit further and you got informed. You did some research, but
Hmm.
we're being blasted with misinformation
Yeah.
by
Oh,
the
yeah.
community, by the pharmaceutical community, by everyone.
Hmm.
And it says, oh yeah, eat frequently so you could actually accelerate your metabolism and everything
Hmm.
will go good. You'll be able to lose fat. But the thing is, people don't understand that what calorie you bring into the body and what calorie comes out, if you have a deficit, you'll lose weight. If you have too
Hmm.
much of it, you'll gain weight. This is
Yeah.
basic math. We know
Yeah.
3 calorie,
Yeah.
1 pound. Again, basic math. But
Hmm.
because I practice intermittent fasting, okay, I've been
Hmm.
6 years. I tried the 7 day fast, I tried the 5 day
Hmm.
fast, the 72-hour fast and all. But I feel that eating once a day, the pancreas will secrete insulin one time and not several times,
Hmm.
like 6, 7 times a day. This is
Yeah.
counterproductive, or even you're putting too much pressure or too much work on the pancreas to secrete insulin. Let it
Hmm.
rest. And like you said, if
Yeah.
you focus on secreting insulin, it will be able to take care of other things that it was meant to take care of.
Exactly.
So,
Exactly.
but people don't seem to understand it. Yeah, the keto diet, how long can you go with under 20 grams of carbohydrate a day? It's not sustainable. It is.
I tell people all the time, so like, and now granted, I'm always open to the possibility of being wrong. I don't have all the answers, but I'm looking for them. And sometimes new information comes across. But for me, it's like, I think keto is absolutely awful because our brains use
Sure.
sugar for energy.
Absolutely.
Your
Yeah.
brain uses sugar. So when your brain doesn't get sugar, it tells your liver, hey, make some ketones because I need energy up here. Your
Correct.
liver doesn't want to make ketones. It only does it when it has to.
Mhm.
It's the same with cholesterol. Your liver will also make cholesterol.
Yeah.
If you're not eating enough cholesterol, your liver makes it.
Mhm.
So again, your liver doesn't want to make cholesterol. It wants to
It's the HDL.
filter your blood, right? I said liver doesn't want to make cholesterol. It wants to filter your blood, right?
That's correct.
So
Yeah. You
when
so
you're
you're
when you're
asking,
telling your liver to, hey, make ketones or hey, make cholesterol, you're putting extra stress on your liver that it doesn't want, but it will do it because the liver is like a powerhouse of, it'll do whatever it needs to do pretty much to keep you healthy and alive.
That's correct. And the thing is that as you know, it is our responsibility, Trenton, to be able to do the research that we need, and also what works for us. What if, let's say,
For
someone
sure.
is 50 pounds doing keto diet, and
Hmm.
doesn't mean that it's going to work for you. Like a
Yeah.
bodybuilder, they need 300 or 400 grams of a carbohydrate a day to
Yeah.
maintain the level of energy that they need to be able to go and lift the 300, 400 pounds that they need to lift. So
Hmm.
I think someone who's overactive or like hyperactive or doing a lot of exercise, they need more sugar because the brain will
Yeah.
require that carbohydrate to transform into the glucose, etc. So again,
Hmm.
it's all about what works for you. And if you don't know about what your body needs,
Hmm.
then you're going into trouble.
Exactly, man. That was why I had to start learning about how the human body works, because all this stuff about, yeah, man, broccoli might like be good for you, but you have to eat like 10 plates of broccoli
To
to
get it
get
done.
the amount of like protein that's in like a 4 ounce beef patty, right? So it's like, and not great. Broccoli's like a great side dish, but yeah, I'm not gonna make a meal out of
No, no, you can. Oh, it's
I'm not gonna make a meal out of something green.
no, it's only like an addition to what you have to eat. But for me, I
Yeah,
eat red meat. I just don't. I haven't eaten
yeah.
red meat for many many years. So I
Mm-hmm.
replace with tofu. I replace
Mm-hmm.
fish. So I'm
Mm-hmm.
not vegetarian or vegan. I'm
Yeah.
pescatarian. Okay, so
Okay.
I'll eat all that, but I have to find other source of protein to be able to
Yeah.
body. That's a given. I know that
Yeah.
red meat is really has the highest amount, but again,
Mm-hmm.
all about what are the good protein or the like amino 3 or omega 3
Mm-hmm.
fatty acids,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
HDL. So
Mm-hmm.
be careful about the bad cholesterol and the good cholesterol. But then again,
Yeah.
it's all about heart health. And what heart health is cardiovascular exercise. And that
Yeah.
is your I would say resistance on how the body pumps or how the heart pumps blood and to be able to
Mm-hmm.
sustain you for many, many years.
Something you mentioned, like and you're so right, because it's so important for all of us to understand what's best for us individually. Like I've noticed whenever I'm not eating a lot of red meat, my body craves it.
Mhm.
And not everyone may go through that. You may crave chicken or fish. Your body may react better to whatever it is, like some people, but yeah, I'm definitely big on we should definitely be eating animals. I feel like if, every mammal in the world has cholesterol.
Yes.
So we have it for a reason. So like another thing, every cell in our body is encased in cholesterol. Our brain is like 20% cholesterol. So we need, I've seen evidence. Now we need more research in this field for sure regarding Alzheimer's and these things, but I've seen a lot of evidence coming out lately linking low cholesterol diets to Alzheimer's. And it's funny, you can see like as we start to push a low cholesterol diet and our cholesterol consumption is going down, same time these degenerative brain disorders are going up.
So but were they able to make this correlation because of the cholesterol aspect of it, or is it also
It's not 100% definitive. That's why I'm not going to be like, oh, you have to eat cholesterol because it's. But what I've started to see lately, some research on the pro cholesterol versus telling everyone to stop eating it. That seems to be the trend, is that some of these degenerative brain disorders, lack of cholesterol.
wow? Okay, well that's